Hello, this is Mountain Alerted, and Alexa, set timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
So, you saw last video, and thank you to American Blackshirt, or NSWAP. Also, I think I found out what the problem with the audio, or at least it was with the rest of the game. Okay, so it's not working still here, but other than when going into the convene the second Grand Council, don't do temporary thing, don't do temporary powers. I also believe I think you need to get the Jacksonians to above the blue shirts to get them in power. So hopefully this will help. United Kingdom assumes leadership of NATO. I wish there was an info bit below the National Republic as a blue shirt bits here. That would be quite helpful. Also, we've recently reached 100 subscribers. Can I get a yay in the comments? Probably not. But still, a momentous moment for me as a YouTuber, at least in this current environment, or at least this current as a YouTuber nowadays, or a small YouTuber in general. I may be able to save the two men stuck in plain view. Soldiers saved. I can't do anything. Can I do anything here? Can I do anything there? I can raise some militia in New Hampshire. Bostoners, welcome to the army. Central Americas have blown up into a series of wars. Damn. Didn't do what it's supposed to do. Probably get back. Fourth National Bank or restructuring beating after finance. I don't see anything that supports the Jacksonian, so Fourth Bank of America. Command economy requires a command bank. A new bank to turn from ashes of old into prosperity for Americans of tomorrow, and that can only be guaranteed by our government and our leadership. Often did the bankers stoop low to please the interest of globalists and communists, but now a new age and new prosperity, and a new ang of patriotic, from the patriotic to the patriotic. Take plain view, and here to cut them off. Fun fact, other than the Aryan Freedom Network existing, because a lot of these are actual real groups, technically these guys have affiliates to a group of the KKK. Very interesting. Mexico has blown itself to smithereens. Need to deploy a unit. And we get garrison, 10 National Guards, maybe in Plymouth. Minutemen. If 4 of you put you in Providence. Motorized. 3 of you put you in Springfield. Mechanized. It's 6. You have Amherst. Armored 2 in Connecticut. Pardon me. Can't do any more units for you, so are you in New Haven? Can't make any more of you, so put you in New Hampshire. And put you guys there. Missing light motorized, mechanized, light mechanized there. Main battle tanks and self-propelled artillery. There we go. Yeah, American military surplus, and next time continue on. Cascadia has destroyed Antifa. The Black Liberation Army has destroyed the state of Alabama. although they're getting destroyed themselves. Kill that group guy. And they got themselves surrounded. Dmitry Medvedev has won the Russian elections. Interesting. Who knows what Serbia would have gone down? The Jacksonians have more than the Blue Shirts, so convene the Second Constitution Convention. At last, victories are. The last pocket of militia have fallen. New England is firmly under our control. As we begin in the process of centralization, the question of our future has been brought forth. Like our forefathers, we shall convene a constitutional convention in Independence Hall, Pennsylvania, where our first constitution was signed here. The future is ours. Republic will be determined. Additionally, we will begin centralizing factions within our party while ensuring Rousseau will maintain absolute control. Alright, the Second Constitutional Convention, the Grand Patriotic Front banners hung over the floor of the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center, where hundreds of delegates intermingle. 100 political alliances were born, and the first day of the convention, alongside countless personal friendships and rivalries, these famous faces are surrounded by loyal acolytes and spied from afar by skeptics and opponents. And spontaneous speeches from moving provocations among the turgid and theological could be heard from the ramparts and stages outside the repaired convention center and solemn sites lay on the city of Boston. The military occupation is lit alight with several sounds of gunfire as fledgling resistance continues to fight on. At once prosperous cities, over 600,000 is now shell of its former self. Only 35% of its residents remain after a week of fighting. Already, many current have made their position and clear. The voices were heard amid the cacophony of barricading for their own round of restoration, and focuses on altering the constructive aspects of pre-revolutionary American nation, and leaning with their ire on bureaucratism, and which they worry may become prominent along the erstwhile comrade-ardent National Socialists too, represent their attacking of Judaism is in the midst along the champion of the litany of racial reforms. This convention has only just begun. The future of the Republic lies in the hands of the men integrated within. Tumultuous times ahead. Very. Got another troop. Amount more distance to Porsche, so we can get actually good standing with them. Raises some of the militia in Vermont. Opening the floodgates. It is sometimes the few had overlooked, but yet even fewer have considered dozens of camera crews, live streamers, and other social media creators have set it upon the convention. As the gates open, only to hold back and have their equipment confiscated, while print and type accounts of the proceedings on the floor or sanctioned videos have been prohibited due to fears among leadership of possible sabotage and worries about loose lips of other convention goers. In the wake of the sudden first day, many have called to ban on the footage lifted. Arguments for and against the move have been raised, but the decision ultimately lies to top ranks of the front. Let the people witness history. Let the people witness history, damn it. A homage to the past. Andrew Jackson, hero of New Orleans, conqueror of Florida, advocate of the common man. Michael De Lorenzo's pen flew quickly and noisily across the paper. His hotel room was silent and cool. Only his improbable desk was illuminated by the cheap, occasionally flickering lamp. De Lorenzo silently cursed himself for the decision to forego the technology while composing his speech. There was posterity before, as he threw what had to be the fifth paper in the trash can. He leaned back and stared at the ceiling. James K. Polk, the man who won Texas, the man who manifested America's destiny, advocate for people's rights. De Lorenzo bowled over the paper, allowing to fall to the floor. He grumbled as he angrily flipped another page of his notebook. Thomas Rousseau, the youthful leader of the movement, the man who drove anarchy and communism of the cradles of the Republic. A Caesar of our time. De Lorenzo stared up the wall. On his desk he assembled 3 pieces of paper. These were the most workable of all of them, and each had their own merits. Jackson, Polk, Rousseau were all heroes in their own right, but De Lorenzo knew each man was an herald driving a different speech. Jackson, a speech for the people. Get you and get you. Raise a bit more legitimacy. Moving forward. Rest in peace, movement to revive the Aryan nations, who was recently crushed by the Cascadian Provisional Authority. A more perfect union, the Constitution was a great work of legal and political merit, yet it has many flaws. It failed to specify many rights, while also failing to take into account the possibility of moral degeneration. It was merely a lawyer's battlefield to be debated into the irrelevance and treated with contempt and derision by those who were supposed bound to oath to defend it. This much every member of the Patriot Front can agree. Where we differ is what we wish to do with it. Jacksonians seek only to edit it, amending it to ensure socialism, neoliberalism, postmodernism can never find legal root in our nation, and to take into account modern cultural, racial, and social issues, advocated for the posture, arguing that the constitution of our forefathers' greatest heritage and necessarily linked to the past, and so many other withering away during our nation's cultural social decline. Opponents of keeping the constitution noted that keeping the document would prove that to be an albatross preventing the necessary excessive exercise of power on behalf of our leader, and serving a reactionary conservative symbol that argues that the whole document should be retired, placed with a totally new, more ideological and inspired legal framework, a decision that requires much consideration on both sides must take taken into account. The Founding Fathers, whose words ring through the hall of the ages. Although we have the decision to make amendments. Okay, you. Amendments. Well, it's been decided that the constitution shall be edited. The extent has not been enumerated. Many suggestions have poured forth. All attendees of the constitution, then, with some suggesting that the mere handful of amendments, or many of hundreds, 12 ironic efforts, votes, have so far been so naught, and even factions that figure views those amendments proceed as a opportunity to place themselves and ideas as in the history books. The chief alteration that have been proposed center around cultural concerns. Many Christian nationalists call for explicit religious oaths to be allowed alongside the establishmentarianism in the states supposed to be in line with the original intents of the Founding Fathers' blue shirts. Blue shirts delegates have in their own right argued for both Christian proposals as spurious, whilst also calling to praise historical wars against Bolshevikism to be added to the preamble. NJP, National Justice Party delegates, on the other hand, have gone further and called for anti-miscegenation amendments and explicit praise of the Third Reich to be included in the preamble, with a dizzying amount of proposals being thrown around. The Patriot Front must decide how extended the new constitution should be. So we're going to do this. Go further. Document must protect Christianity. Everyone. The status of the amendment. Well, it's been decided that the Constitution shall be edited to the extent it's not been emulated. Many suggestions have brought forth for all attendees of the convention, with some suggesting the mere handful of amendments, or as many hundreds as 112 are ironic efforts that have so far been denied, as every faction has figured views that amendment proceed as opportunity to place themselves in ideas of the history books. Chief alteration has been proposed, centered around cultural concerns. Many Christian nationalists call for explicit religious oaths and be allowed alongside the establishment of totalitarian states. Supposedly it is in line as follows. National Socialist delegates have argued for their own rights, argued both Christianity process superiors and critical of anti-miscegenation. Others praised the historical role of Bolshevism, chiefly Adolf Hitler, to be preamble. There are also two ways to satisfy such a dizzying amount of ideas, and demands either entirely transform the Constitution or throw out and start again. Both options have been either entirely transform the Constitution or throw out. Both options have been proponents. The decision will be hard and one and will create animosity either way. Begin drafting a new document. Arab Jamariah has come back. They're back. Volunteers to them. We're taking Lubbock back. Go there. Drastic decision for a drastic situation. This is the one where I put temporary absolute power to spend temporary absolute power. It's quite obvious that almost everyone in the movement, in both political parties and the American nation as a whole, are in a state of general crisis, and this war was for the nation, this nation. Has the capability of ending in both our lives and existence on our movement. Since such a crisis has fallen upon us, it is absolutely necessary and mandatory that we take steps to secure the efficiency and functionality of our leadership. Now is the time to allow things that would cause totality unnecessary distractions and sap resources from our leadership. Drastic times of crisis, as shown in the countless periods of modern history, require drastic measures. At an executive level to avert disaster, what we can immediately act on are giving our leadership special powers for the time being. As much as it may seem unpopular for a society like the US, we could give the executive temporary absolute powers to do what is necessary to lead the nation, and these powers will be given active bodies the ability to sidestep multiple bureaucratic institutions, bypass other branches of government, to employ authority for unilateral decisions or decrees. I like to stop. I'll finish once we do this. And restrict the potential political and social activities of citizenry. The ability for the executive to obtain these powers from the contingency, this thing is flying off my head, on if we are still living in a wartime crisis, which are all within powers of non-party bylaws. Regulations and provisions, restrictions on civil liberties and political activity have been instituted in some way or form multiple times in US history, from the Civil War to World Wars. So this should be, but it not seem too foreign to many people. However, if we deem it necessary, we could give the executive temporary absolute power to do what is necessary, but the time very loose restrictions on which where such powers end in a war or survival, who has the time to abide by specific rules and regulations. It is dreaded conflict that could wipe out the very existence of what needs to be done. What needs to be done and will be done, no questions asked. This temporary arrangement will be given executive whatever is needed to execute the warfare and with the desired level of efficacy and efficiency. If the citizenry need to the right to revoke, then so will be it. If Congress or the courts need to sidestep, then so. But be it if ever necessary, every law in the book needs to be suspended or bypassed, then so be it. And all society needs totally subordinate to the will and exit, then so be it. Leadership must lead. A war can only be won if all the tools necessary to reach the goal resolving in crisis. Anywhere else now means nothing. Temporary absolute power. Not temporary, temporary. Please mean this. I get the Jacksonians. We'll finish the video once this focus finishes, and we got the Jacksonians. Also, the Cascadians went eco-fascist under Mike Ma. And the Pine Trees Party. Got that. I haven't finally got that. So wait for the following year. I'll wait for the Blitz for America. Thomas Rousseau cannot stand and still all this morning. He paces his back and forth in the back office, reading with somewhat nervous anticipation the notice he had scribbled down and what he wanted to say. Ever reading his note was something he could barely keep in tension, as his mind keeps drifting off thinking about what has occurred within the next few minutes. He was not a man of visually give off any kind of volatility in his motions or demeanor. Almost everyone in his party viewed him as a man of cool and calm demeanor. Almost everyone in the party viewed him with demeanor, cool and calm, and even cold determination appearance, but underneath he was not always the same as his public image. He was also going in front of his fellow party members this morning to announce radical new prices for the war effort. He has been thinking about this for weeks now. All the movement came to make his grand announcement. Or looking at his watch, he saw that the time was now. He stepped out to the back room onto the stage in a very large conference room. Now patting the confident smile, it was his time to exclude his power as a leader. If there was any doubt left, it was needed to be left behind in the back room. A large crowd of PF members all clapped in unison, waited in anticipation for a grandiose statement. Patriots, comrades, and dedicated men of the great party, I have come to you today. Great news, and a window into the future was declared with gusto. The Patriot front members all clapped and hollered and praised. Our warfare is proceeding forward in great progress. Our forces march ever forward and on every front. Our general staff, our talented commanders, has admitted to me that they expect our progress to remain consistent, and with great outlook with the foreseeable future. However, we must recognize that the key fact of the situation was so continued as the crowd listened with keen anticipation. This war will not be one of protracted stalling and overly methodical war planning. That will stretch this conflict into many years. Now a chance to win, we must be swift and strong. To win, we must knock down our enemies with lightning and fast procedures. That is why, under my leadership and coordination with our armed forces, we aim to effective and decision results. That's why today I bring you a glimpse of the future. A future under my stewardship that will bring a war effort and the conflict to a close within the next 3 years. The crowd erupts into standing ovation, mixed with cheers, whistles, and massive outpours of praise and support. I am proud now for a large, ecstatic expression on Rousseau's face. Even as he smiles and made his promise to the crowd, he knew that he now needed to mobilize everything possible to make the bombastic promise a reality, because if he failed, he knew very well the consequences mean to him, let alone his position. The clock is ticking, Commander. That it? Wait, do we get the thing after we won the Civil War? I don't know. Seek international aid. Well, next time we'll form the National Front. I hope to see you then. With that, this has been Marshall Limited signing you off. Hope to see you next time. Hope to see you then. Goodbye. Bye.